In all honesty, I was not expecting Final Fantasy VII Remake to be as good as it is. It's an all-time favourite for many people, so it had a lot to live up to. But I have to say, well done to Square Enix because they have delivered. This video will be talking about some of the finer details, Easter eggs and references that can be found throughout the 18-chapter journey, and with a franchise as old and with as much lore as Final Fantasy, there are some pretty cool things to be seen. For example, did you notice in the attic of the church you can spot a couple of barrels beside a gaping hole through the ceiling? This is a callback to the original FF7 where you can push barrels over to help out Aerith. But let's begin with the obvious, the characters, but specifically the hair details. All the main characters have unique and cool looking hair. Notice the physics and the way it moves in the wind as compared to other more sheltered areas. Tifa's ponytail, for example. And in this particular part, the game adds loads of tension as you carefully walk over some precarious metal beam that creaks as you step on it, and the music purposefully cuts out so you can hear it. And if you look very closely, you can even see Tifa's nipples in the cold. Nah, just kidding. Speaking of hair, at the start of the game you'll find some very interesting posters at the train station. The first one is for Hair Tonic, which says ideal scalp hair for astonishingly radiant spiky hair. A similar looking bottle of hair tonic was an item used in Red Dead Redemption 2. Another poster close by advertises Benora White Apple Juice. Players of 2007's PSP Crisis Core will understand the reference immediately, and the scene where Angeal explains how the locals affectionately call them dumb apples.
So Angeal, what's the deal with dumb apples?
The official name is Benora White. The trees bear fruit at random times during the year.
When you enter Steel Mountain in Sector 5, keep an eye out and you will see 3 giant mech suits. These look like a form of Magitek Armor as seen in Final Fantasy VI. There is a mission later on that will task you with finding Corneo's secret stash. The items you find are 3 different tiaras, Ruby, Diamond and Emerald. No, these are not Pokemon references, but references to these optional bosses in the original FF7. In the Wall Market district you will find a gym where you can take part in those super easy pull-up challenges. What you may not have known is that gym junkies Ronnie and Jay are actually modelled after real-life bodybuilders Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler.
Looking to work up a sweat?
Here for a little training?
These guys have one of the biggest rivalries in bodybuilding history. Jules, on the other hand, could be named after the legendary Jules Bacon, but the resemblance isn't so obvious. Now, this secret is one that keeps coming up, so I guess it's not that much of a secret, but fans often theorise whether the universes of Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy X are actually connected. Back in 2017, in an interview with Edamame Arcade Channel, Final Fantasy game director Yoshinori Kitase confirms that the writers say the 2 worlds are connected by a character named Shinra.
FF7 and FF10 take place in the same world.
キャラクターで10に死んだ君っていうのが出てくるので、セブンの死んだカンパニーに少しつながりがあるんではないかっていうのはシナリオライターのちょっとお遊び。
Here is a young Albed named Shinra in Final Fantasy X-2, talking about a limitless energy, aka Mako.
The more you study it, the more fascinating it gets. There's limitless energy swirling around in there.
Limitless energy?
The life force that flows through our planet, I think. With a little work, we could probably extract the energy in a usable form. Of course, that'd take generations.
Maybe one day we could build a city full of light, one that never sleeps.
No doubt about it.
During one of the final chapters in Remake, we come across an old looking group photo in Shinra HQ. And right in the middle there, it appears that the young prodigy may have turned his fascination into a reality. Now this could simply be just a little fan service and nothing more will come of it, but knowing how FF7 Remake ends and the nature of possible parallel universes, the fan speculation with this redesigned logo, and some uncanny similarities between the 2 games, who knows what's in store for the sequel? Anything can happen. There are some details I have a lot of appreciation for. For example, I love how there are some obvious marks and scratches on the Buster Sword which has a rich history, passed down from Angeal to Zack to Cloud.
You know, I've never actually seen you use that.
Use brings about wear, tear, and rust.
I also love how not only can you see the type of materia on the weapons, but you can clearly see which ones you have linked via the customization menu. The weapons changes you permit will be present throughout all the cutscenes, and even the grapple gun you acquire later on will have a place on your character. Some other noteworthy callbacks include the VR simulator in Crisis Core, the original save point logo that can be seen on the rest benches, a reference to Zack's friend Kunsel,
Tight, man. I'm gonna go get Kunsel.
and of course, Barrett's beautiful rendition of the victory theme. I really like what Square has done with the environment to make it more believable. Things like tarps and boots appropriately stored in the sewer level, moths hanging around lamps, and the ambient construction noise happening in the distance around the plate. Even the really small stuff like realistic holes in the dartboard and the freckles on Cloud's otherwise flawless skin during the myriad crawling sections the game uses to intelligently hide loading screens. Everything has been crafted with such care, and there's good reason for it too. The story nicely illustrates the wealth disparity between the citizens above the plate from the oppressed who live in the slums below. When you make your way up, the rest benches and vending machines are noticeably a lot cleaner and more pristine than what we have seen in the slums. The lobby of Shinra HQ feels sterile, with its polished floors, LED TVs, and vintage cars on display. Heck, you can even find 2,000 gil sitting randomly on the bloody floor.
A shining monument to corporate greed.
Two minor characters you get to meet are Leslie and Kyrie. Now, Kyrie is that chick in chapter 14 who spouts on about Avalanche and their nefarious terrorist acts, and who steals Johnny's pretty wallet. But did you know you walk by her early on in chapter 2 on the busy train?
Why don't you learn to take a hint, buddy?
Leslie has a slightly larger role in Remake, but the two are actually main characters in the 2011 novel The Kids Are Alright, a Turkside story. The events of the game actually occur before the two get to meet. There are some truly funny moments in this game, and a lot of care has been put into various NPC animations. But what stood out to me is how extra voice lines had to be recorded for very specific purposes. For example, at the start when Jessie calls for you to look up, just about everybody would have done that. But what if you chose to ignore her?
Cloud, up here! Look
there
up!
There has to be another way.
I said look up!
Well, you're
I said look up! Careful up here. This could collapse at any moment. I said look up!
Please inform the nearest public security officer. You may alternatively contact security headquarters.
I give up. If you ever get up here, just be careful you don't fall, okay?
In the short section where Cloud is in a dress, I walked all over town to see how others would interact with me, and it did not disappoint.
Forgive me, miss, but the way you're staring at me is rather...
Who is she? I need to learn everything
goodness.
about her.
I'm experiencing an emotional response.
I'm no fashionista, but I'm sure this'll go great with that dress of yours.
Can't say I ever understood the appeal of going to so much trouble.
And finally, at the back of the 7th Heaven bar, you can see a couple of black and white photos up on the wall. These are actual images of the 7th Heaven in the original game. So that about wraps up this video. There are probably other notable Easter eggs and details I might have missed, like on the calendar here in the Leaf House. The initials AZ are prominently shown. It could stand for Alyssa Zadel from Final Fantasy XIII too, but that seems a bit tenuous. Who knows? But that about does it. I appreciate you for making it this far, and let me know if you liked this video with a thumb up or a thumb down. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.